I want? I want to be able to... I want, like, pandemic sounds. As much as I love stream beats, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over it. It's not the best. It's not the best. How you guys doing? How y'all doing today? Hopefully good. On this glorious Wednesday, filled with all the gay that you could possibly muster. Muster? No. Tolerate? No. Endure. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. Before I get any kind of messages from any angry people. Oh, you're homophobic. No, I'm not homophobic. I'm not homophobic. But when you shove something in somebody's face over and over again. Let's say that you go to a restaurant. Okay? And they only have one thing to offer there. Or they have different dishes, but they continue to infuse a single, very strong ingredient into the meal. Eventually, you're going to be like, I'm tired of this. I don't want this anymore. I want something else. Even if you enjoyed it at first, now you're just like, it's freaking everywhere, man. I can't order any meal here and have it taste different because they're continuously adding this one ingredient. I don't want it anymore. I'm leaving. And then the owners get mad at you. Why did you leave this restaurant? I just want something different. You're serving up the same crap over and over again. That's what's happening right now in our society when it comes to the LGBT activist community. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And it's not just the LGBT activist community. It's not. It's also the entire intersectional family of leftist nonsense. I'm tired of it. Feminism, I'm done with it. It's everywhere now. I can't escape it. You can't escape it. The only time, the times that we can escape it, look how successful they are. I'm talking Top Gun. All right? I'm talking The Terminal List. Okay? And in a little bit of a way, I'm talking about Netflix's The Gray Man, which you haven't seen that yet. Go see it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm just kind of like... It's over, but it's funny that you have them trying to infuse everything with some sort of LGBT or intersectionalist message, except one thing. They're trying to keep conversation about LGBT, or I should say the gay community in particular, away from it, and it's monkeypox. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that they're trying to keep people away from associating the gay community with monkeypox? I'm going to show you some very interesting things today. Very interesting things. In the meantime, how are you guys? Good to see you. What's up, Carrie Lake, Soul Warriors, Amtrue, Animal, Noob, Raptor. Jeff Charles is in the house. We got to gay everything up. Everything must be gay. We got to gay it all up, man. Everything has got to be more gender affirming. It's got to be more fluid. It's got to be just everything's got to be gay. Everything now. I was watching Westworld, the new season of Westworld, and I was like, okay, I'm getting into it. And out of the blue, for no reason at all, of course, because it's like required. One of the characters suddenly turns around and kisses her girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh, you're gay." And it's like it doesn't necessarily ruin the story, but I mean, Westworld ruined the story. But I mean, it's just after a while you're just like, you're not doing it because it's part of an important part of the character. You're doing it because you're trying to check a box. You're trying to check a box, and so after a while you're just like, I don't know. It just seems so shallow. It seems so shallow, and it kind of takes you out of the universe a little bit. Why do you have a problem with it? Like, again, if it's shoved in my face repeatedly, I'm going to start having a problem with it. I would have the same reaction and some of you are going to get mad at me for this, but it's true. I would have the same reaction if I was trying to enjoy a show and they were continuously trying to shove biblical messages down my throat. Continuously. In the same way that they're doing it with the LGBT. They're not trying to make it a part of the story. It's about the message first, which is why I think this is going to make some of y'all go, screw Brandon! Y'all, Christian media has largely been garbage. And I wrote this just the other day. It's largely been garbage because they do the same exact thing that the LGBT community is trying to do with movies. They put message first and not story. You know, they do not allow their message to just flow through naturally. It's like, message first, then we'll worry about acting and story and character and all that, character development and all that stuff. And it's like, why? You know what actual Christian media does really well? It's The Chosen. If you haven't watched The Chosen, go watch The Chosen. They do so good at telling a story. I wrote about this just the other day in a VIP post. This is why you need to sign up for the VIP program. Promo code Morse, MRSE. On sign up gives you a discount. But I mean, it's one of those things I wrote. Like, if you put story first and you tell a good, like you have good character development, you set the stage, you worry about all of that, your message will flow through naturally. It's that easy. But instead, they keep trying to push a message in, and it's like, it becomes propaganda at that point. I don't want to watch propaganda. I'm here for a story. Here for a story. Well, when feminism becomes anti-women, can't say I blame you, bro. Dude, it has become. Soul, you're completely correct. That's the... Man, I've been saying that for a few years now. It's like the number one enemy of feminism isn't men, it's women. It is femininity. It is the act... Being a woman is against the rules in feminism. It hates women. It hates femininity. It considers it weak. It wants to purge it. People, the entire intersectional leftist thought thing is completely anti exactly what it says it is. So if it says, you know, oh, I'm for women. Feminism is for women. It's definitely against women. All right, the black community. How many people in the black community would say that they're better off because of leftist policies? How many? Yeah, right now, Hispanics are rejecting leftist intersectionalism because of it's just not good for them. It's not good for their communities. They're actively pushing back. I'm feeling gay today, and yet I don't have the urge to make children watch depraved adults dance in a sexual manner. I think I am doing it right. Then you apparently are not gay enough. You gotta step that gay up, man. I play a game with my wife. Every movie now has to have gay character into within 10 minutes. It usually forces just check a box. I'm usually right. So, Jim, welcome, first off. Secondly, what was it the other day? My wife and I were watching, because we had that same conversation. I was just like, it's just everywhere now. Like, you can't get away from it, and it's too much. And my wife, y'all need to remember something. My wife is not right, like right-leaning like I am. She's actually kind of center-left. And, you know, we were watching something, and I can't remember what we were watching. But, like, suddenly out of nowhere, this character that had been on screen and suddenly it's like now she's suddenly a lesbian in this show. And she turns to me and she goes, ugh, you are right. It's too forced. It's everywhere. And I was like, if even someone on the center left is like, this is too much now. If even that's happening, then it's too much. The Chosen is really good. The Chosen is, honestly, I haven't even started season 2 yet. I recently just watched it because it's free on Amazon Prime at the moment. And I finally sat down to watch it after being told to watch it over and over and over again, because I had been complaining openly about the failure of Christian media to be good. And they were like, everyone's like, watch The Chosen. So I was like, okay. Finally got to sit down and watch it, and I binged it. It was so good. It was a revelation. Seriously, I do not... How did it take people this long to figure out, hey, if you really want to, like, make people like take interest in the character of Christ and his message, the story of the apostles and stuff. Like, stop making stuff that's just like Jesus is this. I don't even know how to describe him in previous media. I haven't actually sat down and really think about it, but I should. But like, he's always the same character in every single. I don't know. It's him speaking so wisely and saying things that are said in the Bible and all that stuff, and then the apostles are there, but they're not really there. Like, they're not human. They're just kind of. I don't know, man. It just never connected on a human level. And then the Chosen comes along, and like, that was their goal. We're going to connect you to Jesus and the apostles on a human level, and you're going to understand them more. You're going to understand his message better. You're going to understand the times that he was in, so on and so forth. And it's just like, what a freaking revelation, man. I literally, I don't get emotional during movies, but there were times in that show where I was just like, I'm a Kinsey Zero, and I aim to stay that way. I don't know what that means. Fill me in. So should we call it the monkey butt X? They are finding this stuff, and forced wokeness doesn't make money. That we're gonna get to. It's Amtrue. It's funny that you mentioned that, because we are gonna bring up Batgirl here in a little bit. Batgirl is a finished movie that Warner Bros. Decided we're not gonna release. It's that bad. So that, yes, you're not wrong. No worries, I'm a ninja. We all knew that. The Rump Ranger voice. I started watching The Chosen a couple of weeks ago, but haven't picked it up again yet. I liked it though. Yeah. It does, I will say this, it does start slow, because you figure that The Chosen, like a show about Jesus, would have Jesus up front and, like first thing, but it doesn't. It takes time to set the stage, and it follows around primarily Simon, Peter, and Matthew. Those two. And those two characters, outside of Jesus, like, those two characters are like chef's kiss, masterfully written. Even the people around them, like the people they interact with and stuff, are just amazing. I love it. It's so good. It's so well written. So well acted. I like the fact that they they take some liberties? I'm sure that they did. They made Matthew kind of a guy on the spectrum a little bit, which I thought was like, wow, what a great move. Like, the way that they made Matthew just seem like such an outsider, but people don't understand, like, autism yet. It's so good. It's parts of the Bible come to life. I'm not a Christian, but I dig it. Yeah, a good story is a good story. What's up, Dark? How you doing? Best time of the day. Thanks, Amtrue. Never watched The Chosen, but I've heard plenty of it. Yeah, dude, it's free right now. If you have Amazon Prime on your device or TV or whatever, it's free. The first season, go watch it. I'm this close from the second season's not free at the moment, but I'm this close. Hey, Susie. I watched The Robe and all that stuff growing up every Easter. I used to like back. You know what I was introduced to? You know why I think I'm so like this when it comes to Christian media? I think it's because I grew up watching or reading the Chronicles of Narnia. And like, you don't... I think C.S. Lewis understood the value of storytelling when he was trying to get his message across, especially to children. He understood that. And here's the funny part. Like, well, I mean, like, well, let me say this first. Whenever you get introduced to Christianity through storytelling in that way, you kind of recognize good storytelling versus bad storytelling. How something can make you feel just by watching, or reading. And Lewis kind of mastered that. The funny part about that is that you would think that Christians wouldn't have a problem with this. With the aspect of storytelling. Because that's what Christ did. He told a story to get the point across. He used parables and all this stuff. He would make you see things from a metaphoric perspective first, before telling you what the lesson was after. And you would figure that Christians would be like, all right, I'm going to take that very same approach. And for the longest time, they just didn't. They came out with just these silly movies, these underacted, horribly written. I could go on. I don't want to get stun locked on this. I don't want to get stun locked. I will, though. I could talk about this for hours. I am Spartacus, quoting Booker. This is my moment. I haven't seen any of season 2 yet, perhaps. Season 1 was great, yeah. C.S. Lewis was brilliant, is brilliant. Oh, yeah. I read C.S. Lewis is dead, yeah. I think he died sometime in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it the 80s? When did C.S. Lewis die? When did C.S. Lewis die? 1998. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. He died in 1963. I am so reading that wrong. He died in 1963. I was way off. Okay, so yeah, he died in 1963. If you've ever read, like, obviously, I'm going to assume many of you read the Narnia series. If you haven't, go read it. It's a very easy read. It's for children, and I plan on reading it to my kids too. But I still find them entertaining, even as an adult. But if ever you get the chance, sit down and really venture outside of his work on Narnia. Go read Mere Christianity. Go read The Great Divorce. Go read The Problem of Pain. Go read the Screwtape Letters. Oh my God. You know what? No. Don't go read the Screwtape Letters. Go listen to the Screwtape Letters on audiobook and go get the one that's voice acted by Joss Ackland. Seriously. It's a mind-blowing book. He understands human psychology so well, C.S. Lewis. You know? And I think that's probably one of the best parts about it. He's just so good. He's so good at getting you to understand, like, cosmic concepts. And he wrote about everything, even just all the way down to, like, religion and rocketry, which I've been, like, relying on lately because I want to write this piece about Christians and space travel. And he also wrote a trilogy, by the way, a science fiction trilogy. It's just to throw that out there. But he had an essay called Religion and Rocketry where he kind of analyzed what it would look like for Christians in space. And to this day, I still think it's one of the best things I've ever read on the subject. Storytelling is one of the most ancient forms of passing on knowledge, not something that should be underestimated, but it is often. Sean, you are correct. We have to master storytelling if we really want to get a message across, instead of just worrying about getting the message across first. And that's really what the left does wrong. It used to be very good at it. The left used to be able to tell a story and get a message across very well. Now it's all message first, which is why most of their stuff is failing. 30-year difference there. I don't know what you're talking about, Dark. I said the 60s. I said it. Don't play it back, but just trust me. All the good ones are gone. Jordan Peterson's still alive. Had to explain Fahrenheit 451 to a friend. LOL, 451 degrees when paper burns. Do that. Read Lewis' stuff. Yep, you can read Screwtape online. Yeah. But just try, if you have Audible or anything like that, like I'm obsessed with Audible.com. The Joss Ackland version of the Screwtape Letters is so good. I grew up reading everything from Aristotle to Hemingway to Heinlein and Asimov. The old man was big on the classics, but also a big classic science fiction guy. Classic science fiction is so funny to read nowadays. He had me reading Aristotle's Metaphysics when I was 14. Yeah, dang. That's good, though. Hollywood used to know how to tell a story. Oh well, good times. Yes, the dialogue character building used to be amazing. Swiss Family Robinson was my first. Oh, wow, yeah. Narnia was mine. Narnia was like the first. Dude, I grew up on Narnia and Hank the Cowdog. Did anyone read Hank the Cowdog? Is anyone a Hank the Cowdog fan? I will only listen to audiobooks if it's narrated by Brian Blessed. Dude, my favorite, he's the guy who did, hang on, let me look this up real fast, because he's so good. And his name is right on the tip of my tongue, but I need to, his name is, I'm trying to get it. It's not letting me look it up. R.C. Bray. R.C. Bray is probably one of the best audiobook actors on the market right now. He did The Martian. For those of you who have never read The Martian, like, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but if you've read The Martian, you know that how good of a book it actually is. But he does such a good job. Character building used to be amazing in movies. It was what made Westerns so good. I'll only listen to an audiobook if it's narrated by Brian Blade. I heard the Screw Tape Letters with Andy Serkis is pretty good too. Oh, did he do one? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What the heck is going on? Suddenly my my Stream Deck doesn't want to work, so I'm gonna have to do all this manually. Batgirl film axed by Warner Bros. Won't be released on any platform. So we're talking about how they fail miserably when it comes to telling a story nowadays, due primarily, in my opinion, to intersectionalism, due primarily to the fact that they can't stop putting the message first. You would figure that after failure after failure after failure, after going woke and getting broke constantly, that they would finally stop doing this nonsense. But apparently they have not fully learned their lesson yet. It seems to me, however, that possibly this might be one of those turning points in our society, one of those turning points in our culture where they finally start to figure out, hey, people just don't want to have to deal with politics and their escapism. They don't want to hear a message. They're coming here to get away from their own lives for a little bit. Maybe we should stop shoving it down their throat because, A, we're not making money off of it. But B, it's turning them against our products, and not just this product, all products. I don't think that it's any mystery right now that Young Rippa has millions of backers. I shouldn't say millions of backers, millions of dollars worth of backing for his Rippaverse. Whereas you have Marvel and DC Comics failing so badly that Warner Bros. Is like cutting them loose. DC in particular. The comics aspect of it, not the film rights. I think it's very interesting to me that you have people who still have a thirst for comics, that they're willing to hand over millions, obviously millions of dollars to Young Rippa. Okay. By the way, go check him out on YouTube. He's a really awesome guy. I watch him pretty regularly. They're willing to hand over all that money to him because they trust him to create a comic book worth reading, create a comic book that is pure escapism, does not deal with the real world modernity that has infected everything. They just want a place to escape. They want a place to go. The left has hitherto made that impossible to do. Now he's giving people a place to escape to, and people are just thirsty for it. So they're forking over their money by the boatloads, stacks on stacks. Meanwhile, what's happening? You've got a movie that is done. It's been made. But they're not going to release it now. It failed so badly with test audiences that they said, all right, we ain't doing this then. Pull it back. This is from Variety. Batgirl, the feature film adaptation of the DC Comics character, has been killed at Warner Bros. Variety has confirmed. It will not premiere on any platform at the studio, neither theatrically nor on HBO Max. That right there alone, the fact that it's not going to appear on HBO Max should tell you a lot. It must be so bad That they are afraid that if they release it on HBO Max and people will see it, it will be covered, it will be destroyed, and people will be turned off to every other product that they try to release in the future. That's what that tells me. They goofed so badly with Batgirl that they're afraid that people will see it. They don't want it a part of their canon. They're like, no, we're backing up. The production, starring Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon, a.k.a. Batgirl, and directed by Bad Boys for Life and Miss Marvel filmmakers Edel El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. By the way, I don't, you know what, never mind. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to get stun locked. Was greenlit in 2021 as part of the company-wide effort at Warner Bros. To create feature films specifically for HBO Max. But the new corporate regime at Warner Bros., Discovery, has pivoted the company's priorities back to theatrical features, leaving Batgirl without a proper home. Also on the chopping block, Scoob Holiday Haunt, a follow-up to the 2020 film Scoob, has been shelved by studios. Footage for the animated adaptation of Scooby-Doo series was showcased in a sizzle reel for HBO Max back into December 2021. Sources indicate that the production had cost Warner Bros. $40 million. Studio insiders insist the decision to axe Batgirl was not driven by the quality of the film or the commitment of the filmmakers, but by the desire for the studio's slate of DC features to be at a blockbuster scale. Batgirl was budgeted to screen in homes on HBO Max and not for a major global release in theaters. The initial $75 million production budget for the project, which finished principal photography earlier this year, was in post-production, reached $90 million due to, in part, to COVID-related delays. Okay, so I don't believe this for a second. I think Variety is pushing a little bit of a Warner Bros. Narrative here. Because if you go to other outlets who have been reporting on this, one of the reasons that they shelved it was because test audiences had despised it. This film, they hated it. They could not get a good thing to say about it. According to what I've read, Michael Keaton was supposed to play a bigger part. They were supposed to bring back Michael Keaton. Remember Michael Keaton's Batman? From the Tim Burton Batmans back in the 90s? They were supposed to bring him back, and he was supposed to be kind of like a mentor figure. But from now what I'm reading, they were going to chop his part down to like only 8 scenes or something like that, and it was not going to be a mentor kind of figure anymore. Because you can't have a mentor figure for feminists that are male. Are you kidding me? That's against the rules. It seems to me that they dropped the ball really badly when it came to Batgirl. The fact that it reached $90 million and was likely to probably go over because they had to do advertising budgets and stuff like that. This number right here tells me that it was so bad. It was so bad that they are afraid to have you see it. They don't want you to see it and think, oh, this is what Warner Brothers Discovery now represents. And I say that because Netflix is also kind of following that same... Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I say that because Netflix is also following about the same kind of route. A while back, Netflix actually decided to kill off a lot of the woke shows. Netflix canceled some of its woke shows, signaling its backpedal from leftism is well underway. They decided to go in, by the way, this was written back in May. They decided to go in and they started to chop up a lot of the woke programming that they were releasing. Directly woke programming. Netflix has pulled, this is from Variety as well, Netflix has pulled the plug on several animated projects, including Wings of Fire from executive producer Ava DuVernay, Anti-Racist Baby, a series aimed at preschoolers, and With Kind Regards from Kindergarten, a film tailored to youngsters. The streaming service also scrapped Stamped: Racism, Anti-Racism in You, a documentary intended to serve as a companion piece to Stamped from the Beginning, which is a hybrid documentary and scripted feature that delves into race in the United States. Stamped from the Beginning is still moving forward and is currently in post-production. Anti-Racist Baby, based on anti-racist scholar Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, children's book of the same name, was imagined as a series of animated vignettes set to music for preschoolers. Kendi also wrote Stamped: Racism, Anti-Racism in You, which will no longer run in tandem with the adult-skewed Stamped from the Beginning. Those 3 projects are being made to examine racism for audiences of all ages. According to page 6, Netflix has also canceled a feminist animated series by Meghan Markle. Okay, so these 2 things right here, the cancellation of Batgirl, the cancellation of woke shows by Netflix, tells me that there are companies out there that are starting to turn a corner. Because no one is watching these things. They are actively speaking out against them. They can't seem to generate hype. In fact, they seem to only be able to generate anger from audiences. So why go forward with it? Why put this on your... Why even risk putting this into your library where people will see it and complain about it and get other people to get angry for even releasing racist dreck like this or feminist dreck like this? Why risk it? Why not go down a better path? Especially now that we've seen how Top Gun performs, how these apolitical movies and shows perform, how Terminal List performed. All right? How Gray Man is performing. All these shows, all these movies that are doing well because they did not have the message in there. Why not go toward that? Because that seems to be where the money is. We got to ditch this wokeness. That's not saying that they're completely ditching all of it. But it seems to me that they're starting to move in that direction. You get woke, you go broke. People just don't want to watch it. They do not want the message in their movies. It's that simple. Hey, what's up, Cleo? They were going to make her the new Batman in the DCEU, which just sounded stupid. DC always making dumb decisions. Now it seems like they're not. Something tells me when all of us here do watch it, it will be comedy to us. Oops, better have that job tech. Not going to be on Mystery Science Theater 3000. That would be all this is good for. Batgirl, if they could just release it, if they would release it to the guys at Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they actually did their job at Mystery Science 3000 and just lampooned the crap out of it, I would watch it. I would then watch it. Because it would fall and qualify into that category of stupid, bad movies that they should make fun of. Sounds like it deserved it, yeah. Watch them come out and say it appears the public is still too sexist, racist for this movie or some BS like that. So here's the thing. If we were like sitting here maybe doing this 5 years ago, I would say that you're 100% correct. They're going to turn around and try to blame this on the audience. They're going to try to blame this on you and me. But I've noticed a stark contrast in the way that the corporations talk to us now versus talk to us then. It used to be that, they would have these actors and producers and directors up front and saying, oh, well, the reason that this failed is because we need feminism now more than ever. This is just sexism. It's pure sexism. What was it? It was, what was her name? The latest Charlie's Angels. Elizabeth Banks directed it. So Elizabeth Banks directed the latest Charlie's Angels. Before Charlie's Angels released, Elizabeth Banks went on to talk about how, this is a movie for feminists. It's a movie for women. It's, it's not necessarily, for men and stuff like that. Well, what's funny is she said that and then preemptively blamed men for its failure. The movie hadn't even released and Elizabeth Banks was already blaming men for the fact that it was going to fail. Star Wars recently did something very similar where they tried to paint the Star Wars fandom as racist for a show that hadn't even come out yet. It's like they know that these things are going to bomb, And they were already looking for a way to make social justice narratives out of it. But at the end of the day, your film, your show, your production still bombed. And there's only so much bomb a studio can handle before somebody at the top goes, all right, we got to stop this. We got to turn this around because we're going broke. I mean, the fact that $90 million was sacrificed, that no one will see this they spent $90 million on a film no one is going to see. That's not just a light decision to make. That's $90 million. There was more to it. There's more to it than what Variety says. They goofed. They goofed so bad. Because excluding a mentor purely based on mentor's gender isn't sexist at all. I think that they're going to have some... I think that they're going to have a very... No, I take that back. You know what? I think that the moment they start really turning it around and releasing stuff that does not have the message in it, these studios will recoup their money pretty quickly. Because it's clear that people are stupid thirsty for good cinema, for good shows. And that will flock to them. Look at Spider-Man No Way Home, Top Gun. There's one other movie that was released recently that I was like, oh, it's pretty good. Oh, yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, all of these movies were so good, they didn't have messaging in them. They were just good movies. By the way, if you were Everything Everywhere All at Once, we recently got to see that. It's kind of like a much better version of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like, literally, I think they're almost the same concept, but like Everything Everywhere All at Once just is so much better. It's ahead of its time. Earth isn't ready for it yet. We are just not stunning and brave enough, I guess. I've said it a couple times, but it's a new guy in charge of Warner Discovery. Yeah, the entire change up at Warner Bros. I actually had a lot of hope for it. This is the same people that are like, we need to turn CNN around, because they own CNN as well. And they were like, we can't have CNN being this garbage fire of leftist politics anymore. Given the guy they put in charge of CNN to turn it around after Jeff Zucker is the same guy who created the Colbert show, like the Late Show Colbert. He also created, what did he create that I was like, nah, CNN's still screwed. It's like it was a leftist show. Yeah. He also created morning. Oh gosh, what is it? The MSNBC show with Mika Brzezinski and what's his name? Morning Joe. He also created Morning Joe, and I was like, no, CNN's screwed. CNN's so screwed. Give them the credit for trying to sheeple the people. Just doesn't work, really. Eventually, the people fight back, especially here in America. We have that rebellious spirit to us. The truth is, we all need reality checks from time to time. And when it comes to a specific class of people, it's been far too long. This story tells me their checks are arriving now. Yeah, I mean, that's, again, won't go broke, and there's only so much broke that a corporation will tolerate. Pretty sure the actress they cast is Latin or something as well, which Batgirl isn't supposed to be. She's a white redhead. Hollywood seems to hate redheads the most. That dark, it's funny that you said, that was what I was about to get into, and I just decided, I was like, if I start on this, I'm just going to not. Why do they hate redheads so much in modern media? Like, woke culture despises a redhead. There is an entire list somewhere on Reddit that I saw. I wish I could pull it up now. There is an entire redhead list on Reddit of characters that they're just killing off in media that are redheads. And it's like nonstop. Even Ariel from The Little Mermaid, dead. She's no more redhead for her. It's funny, like if you watch The Witcher, one of the characters who's a redhead, she's one of the main characters. You know, they put her up as like this black woman, kind of, and then in the second or the next season, they made her into a redhead because of some magical incident that happened because fans were like, what the hell? Note to self, need to ask Warner Bros. If they can spare me $1 million. If they can blow $90 million carelessly, I could use some cash. You know what? How come every time Elon Musk tries to do something, people are like, with the amount of money that he spent, he could have fed blah, 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 blah. But then, like, I swear to you, some other corporation that has hitherto been woke drops that kind of money on nonsense and nobody says a damn word. Nobody. It drives me crazy. It's like, bro, just... the hypocrisy, the absolute hypocrisy, dude. Just one other thing real fast, and I kind of want to move on because I want to talk about the fall of a great franchise. And I don't know why I'm taking the long way around and doing that, but it just reminded me. I need to rant about this for just a second. I need to rant. We spent a lot. Oh, I don't know if any of you have played Grand Theft Auto ever in your lives. Any iteration. I don't know. I don't care which. They're all pretty great. Given I never played Liberty City Stories, but Grand Theft Auto 5 was released just to give you how good of an idea these games are, how good they are. Grand Theft Auto was released almost a decade ago, and they're still managing to milk it. Like, people are still playing it today. It has a huge fan base. I'm playing it. I'm replaying it right now. On my downtime. I play Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto is one of those games that when Grand Theft Auto 3 hit, this is up on Red State, by the way. More or less everything I'm talking about right now is up on Red State. When Grand Theft Auto 3 hit, there was this huge blow up about it. Like, our culture, you either loved it or you thought it was the worst thing ever since D&D and Ozzy Osbourne. Okay, like, people went nuts on how evil this game was. Is this game immoral? Is it evil? Yeah, it's definitely immoral. It's not for kids. All right? But what I loved about this game was the fact that it was completely irreverent to our current culture. It's kind of like South Park. All right? Underneath this really gross exterior is like this message of them making fun of sacred cows, right? They are completely trashing sacred cows in these games all the time. It is hilarious to watch. All right, I love it. Like, the culture, the world inside of Grand Theft Auto is just so fun to be a part of. It's innuendo, it's jokes, some of them are childish, yeah, absolutely, but it's just fun to be in it. Now it too has fallen to woke culture, according to all reports. And it's tragic that we are losing this. I'm gonna say this. I hope if all the stories are true and Rockstar Games has become like Twitter, it's become like every other woke corporation in Silicon Valley. If it has gone down that path, I hope that Rockstar Games fails. I hope that they crash and burn. And I hope from the ashes, somebody takes over and we see Grand Theft Auto again in the good old light that we used to. We need things like Grand Theft Auto, in my honest to God opinion. Just like I think that we need things like South Park. We need these games that just kind of dive into the absurdity of our culture. Because it's through that absurdity that we understand how absurd we're being. Everybody needs a reality check at some point in time, and sometimes the best way to get that reality check is to see yourself through that absurd lens. This Grand Theft Auto was a great view of our culture through that absurd lens, while still telling a great story. If you haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5 and you have the means to do so, go play Grand Theft Auto 5. It's not for kids. Don't play it around your kids. But I mean, like, just trust me. It's so good. I never got into GTA. It's so good. It's so good. GTA, not my thing, but I did play Sleeping Dragons. Oh, is that the other? Oh, God. The one about the Yakuza or something like that? Oh, Sleeping Dogs. Yeah. People paying for those shark cards. Everything that I heard about GTA sounded terrible, but if that was your good thing, good on you. Immoral good description. It's not, it's just like, in my honest opinion, I compare it to South Park. You know, a lot of people watch South Park and you know, they just see the bad jokes, you know, and when I say bad jokes, I mean like it's gross, it's impolite, it's not politically correct. Grand Theft Auto was just the video game version of that. It's not politically correct. And that's why so many people hated it. Whenever Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, it was Hillary Clinton who tried to shut down violent video games, and she took aim at Rockstar. First and foremost, she took aim at Rockstar. You love the GTA games. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, bro. I knew I could always count on you. My parents drilled a layer of respect for cops and disrespect for media that made light of killing them, so I've had a hard time getting into GTA. That said, I've lightened up on that lately. I think that there is a satire of American culture. Dark nailed it. It's satire of American culture. I think that there is we have as a culture a hard time sometimes separating absurdity and I'm trying to explain this in a way that, because a lot of people kind of got onto me about liking South Park too, and they're like, you know, how could you watch something so hideous and horrible? And it's like, you guys, if you really watch it and you understand what they're trying to say underneath, you'll understand that it is probably the most conservative libertarian show on the planet. Now, I am not about to say that Grand Theft Auto is conservative or libertarian in its messaging. Well, maybe more libertarian, but I would say that if you actually sit down and look at the satire that they go through, because they lampoon everybody and everything, just like Matt Stone and Trey Parker did. It lampoons everything. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, rich, poor, Republican, or Democrat. It doesn't matter. They're making fun of you. And I think that attacking sacred cows in our society is a good thing. I really do. And sometimes the attacks are gross. That's just the honest to God truth. Sometimes, you know, looking at things through that lens and learning not to take stuff so seriously is so healthy for your brain. And I think that we lost that we lost hold of that idea at some point in time. Or maybe we never had it. I don't know. I just remember that there was a time when we would watch stuff that was absolutely god-awful in terms of, you know, language and like content, but we would pull a message out of it. Mel Brooks movies are a great example of this. You know, you watch Blazing Saddles and they're dropping the N-word left and right. You know, it's like just crude, gaudy humor. But then, like, when you really break it down, like, it's a great message underneath, you know? And I think that we as a society sometimes we just get too prude. And we have a hard time understanding that, hey, sometimes art, when it's really good, does not follow moral rules, you know? And I'm sure, you know, your mileage may vary, and that's fine. I'm not trying to make fun of you or say that, you know, you're a prude or short-sighted for not enjoying that content at all. That's not what I'm saying. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and that's fine. I'm just saying that I feel like a lot of people get to a point where they look down so badly on media that does not fit within their moral purview that you miss the message that was underneath. And we can separate having fun in a video game from real life, which is something that I felt like both the right and the left had a really hard time doing for years. You know, you go in and you know, you mess around in GTA and you do some of the stuff that would land you in prison on multiple life sentences, but you turn off the game and like you're a normal citizen. It's not like you learned anything from it. Like, it's not like you were inspired to do any evil from it. Just like, you know, you watch South Park, you watch, you know, you play D&D, you listen to Ozzy Osbourne, you know, you do all this stuff. And like, at the end of the day, you're still a normal citizen. You know, I feel like we could probably learn a thing or two from that. But I think that the fall of GTA to woke culture is, in my honest opinion, a tragedy, because it's one of those beachheads that we had where everything was made fun of. There was no sacred cows. They weren't allowed to thrive there. you play that game and you come out with a different perspective about, some of the things that we consider way too serious in this society, or see way too seriously in this society. And it's good for you. It's good for your brain. So it's a shame. I prefer to have immoral games than fascist censorship. Exactly, Kurt. Amen to that. It's funny how so many of the bigger game companies are going woke, but I'm seeing smaller game companies back away from woke stuff. I think it's, yeah. Case in point, bigger studios like Santa Monica, which make God of War, they're introducing a black god into it's Loki's wife. Now she's black suddenly in a Viking game. It's like, again, it's just using. I don't know. I'm over it, man. I'm over it. Yakuza is great too. Yeah, I couldn't get into Yakuza. Very true, I'm true. EgoSoft puts so much into its games. They work hard, but they don't make nearly what they deserve for all that. What are they doing that is woke in the next one? So it's not necessarily two things. For one, they said that they're going to stop punching down. And I don't know what that specifically toward minority groups. I actually wrote it in the article. They're going to stop punching down, and that's not good. Like everybody needs to be punched at some point in time. It doesn't matter who you are. But obviously they're going to start. It's a game that would slaughter sacred cows, and now they're embracing them. So that's one really bad thing. That's a part of woke culture that I just can't accept. The other thing is, like, in the background of it, apparently, I don't know if you guys remember what they were talking about in terms of how they work at Twitter. You know how, like, they would take off like a month for mental health and all that stuff. Well, they're kind of implementing the same rules at Rockstar, and I can only imagine that's going to turn out really bad. The fact that they're going to have a new female front character that you can choose to play, that doesn't bother me at all. I don't care about that. But I mean, like, they're trying to make a big deal out of it. I don't know. It's annoying. It's honestly annoying. I feel bad. Maybe I'll be wrong and GTA 6 will be the best Grand Theft Auto ever, but I sincerely doubt it. It also sounds to me like they're releasing an unfinished game, and that they're just going to finish it along the way as time goes on with DLC. Which, screw that, dude. I own a South Park game. It's crazy. Dude, that South Park RPG is freaking phenomenal. I played both of them. The Fractured Butthole and the Stick of Truth. Oh my god. Chef's kiss on those. I don't know anything about GTA, but Donkey Kong is clearly problematic. The big brown ape trying to constantly kill little white hero by throwing barrels at him is clearly racist. Clearly. He is tossing barrels of monkeypox. We're going to get to monkeypox here in a second. I want to talk about that. Because I'm a little angry about this new pandemic. I've been playing the South Park games recently, actually hilarious games. Dude, they're so good. These days, they think Springtime for Hitler was either being mean to Hitler or gays, and that Mel Brooks somehow supports Nazism. Exactly! Springtime for Hitler is honestly one of the funniest musical numbers I have ever seen in my entire life. It makes fun of Nazis so well, but in today's woke culture, they would look at that, and you are 100% correct, they'd be like, that's wrong. We shouldn't even be laughing about that. Like, no, we should. We should be laughing about it. We should be laughing at these evil things. We should be laughing at everything and everyone, because if you do not do that, it creates sacred cows, and sacred cows in our society have a tendency to rule over us with some of the most evil intentions ever. You want to talk about a good example? Look at transgenderism. We weren't allowed to laugh at transgenderism for a long time. Steven Crowder was getting his YouTube videos taken down because he would make transgender jokes. Okay? And now we have these kids who are being brought up, like kids as young as 3 years old are being injected with hormones because their mother and father think that they're trans. You have kids that are dancing in nightclubs in the middle of the night in gay bars while strangers throw money at them. Okay, these transgender kids. I remember this one picture, and I could not believe that it was not made a bigger deal of. But there was a man from RuPaul's Drag Race standing completely naked next to a young boy who was dressed up as a girl on Instagram. This is what happens when sacred cows get a hold of us in our society. We can't make fun of them, and so they rule over our society, and they just go so far, to the point where now they have infected our school systems, and they're trying to transform our children into little versions of them. These gender fluid, gender confused, LGBT infused, all of this, unhealthy, just self-destructive nonsense. And you're evil if you try to resist it. You could be canceled. You could be fired. And it just goes to show you that's the power of sacred cows in our society. This is why it's so important that we have our Grand Theft Autos. That's why it's so important that we have our South Parks. That's why it's so important that we have movie makers like Mel Brooks, Matt Stone, and Trey Parker. Like, they are important. Comedy is the great societal disinfectant. Comedy is the great societal disinfectant. And sometimes it does not look pretty. It's not something that your grandma would approve of. It's not something that you could show in a church. That is 100% true. I'm not saying that it's morally good on the exterior, but on the interior, it's absolutely necessary. What's wrong with Loki wanting a bit more coffee than cream? I can't, but bro, okay, look. Jeff, if you have a Viking, like European game, or not game, just a European mythology. That's the word I was looking for. Mythology. How many of those gods of the Europeans do you think would actually be African in origin? Like if I were to do the same exact thing, if I were to create a game based around African mythologies, and then suddenly one of these major characters that had hitherto been black the entire time had suddenly white skin and was European in origin, do you think that would go over well? Because I don't. God of War is going to be great despite that. I don't think it's going to... Here's the thing. I want to make this very clear. I don't think it's going to be a bad game at all because of that. I don't think that at all. But I do... what I have a problem with is that they were doing it not because they have respect for the mythology or anything like that. They do it because they were trying to check a box. And how do I know that? Because the guy who's directing the entire series said so. He said that. He said that this is political. That move was strictly political. It had nothing to do with trying to introduce a black character into the entire thing because of story reasons. He's doing it because it is political. He said that. I actually think I wrote an article about it, and I'll pull it up after the stream, and I'll tweet it out. That's why. That's why I've got a problem with it. I don't care if the black character appears in the game. I do not care. That's not the issue. But do it for the story. Don't do it because you're just trying to check a box. When faced with sacred cows, make sacred burgers. Solid. I like that, actually. That needs to be the title of a VIP piece. Got a belt. Hey, Animal, thanks for stopping by, man. Sacred burgers taste the best, Jeff. That meat's juicy. What's up, McCracken? How you doing, brother? A Viking mythos, yeah. What's up, Richard Joseph? When we can't participate in the voices in our heads, what is there left to participate in? When we can't participate in the voices in our heads, what is there left to participate in? Mind control, man. There's plenty of African myths and legends, so why doesn't someone make a game based on it? I would actually like that. Kurt, I would love to see that. And I think that there have been before, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, like, I would like to see, because we've had so many great games based on, like, mythos and stuff like that, Dante's Inferno. I would love to see something along the lines of a game inspired by, oh God, now that I'm trying to talk to you guys about it. the Garden of Eden, the story about the Garden of Eden. I would love to see games based around that. You know, like I think it'd be cool. The more, the better. I would like a diversity of games taking place in all sorts of places. Creative licenses, but they have to be good. Again, story and game first, then message. It's definitely about box ticking for sure. That's what they said. Home of the sacred. Welcome to America, home of the sacred burger. Can I take you? Remember Moon Knight, though? People were mad that all the Egyptian gods were represented by non-black folk, but these same people want black Vikings. Inconsistent. What was it? Oh, man, I'm trying to think about Rami Malek, back when he was in the movie Night at the Museum. I remember on Tumblr, people were getting really mad about the fact that Rami Malek was playing an Egyptian. And they were like, how could this man play an Egyptian? This is wrong. He's not the right color. And then someone came back and goes, Rami Malek's literally Egyptian. He's literally Egyptian. Creative license does cover it. It doesn't necessarily need to be exactly like the mythology, even though I would prefer that. No, I mean, like, look, if you're taking creative license, God of War, if you look at it, it is a story of what would happen in the Viking mythos, that entire, the Odin and Thor and all that stuff, that mythos, if you took Loki out of the equation. So it's creative licensing, which is fine. That's great, because it was a part of the story, though. It was a part of the story. And so if you do that and you write an entire story about what it would be like if Loki was introduced at a different time in a different manner, you know, then great. That's great. It makes for a really good story. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about God of War, which is a video game that was released on PlayStation 4. And it's still, to this day, one of the greatest games I've ever played. It's so good, my wife got me a... let me see if I can't show you guys. She made me a picture for my birthday, and it's the God of War. It's me and Remy, my dog. And it's that good. You know, I'm actually going through it right now. Back through it. It's just such a good story. And it's a great story about a father and son and all this stuff. Video games really are the great modern storyteller. But it focused more on story than it did box checking. And I'm really hoping that the next sequel doesn't fall into that trap. People with shattered psyches, split personality disorder are really consistent. What's up, Half Baked? How you doing, man? Let's cover this because I went on a huge rant there. Neil Patrick Harris, new Doctor Who will feature first gay doctor. Neil Patrick Harris has revealed that sex education star, how do you say that? Nkudi Gatwa? Sorry if I've butchered that. Doctor Who is going to be queer. Gatwa was confirmed to be the next Doctor earlier this year. The uncoupled actor wrapped up filming the upcoming season of the beloved and iconic British science fiction series Doctor Who, and in a recent interview with Variety said, I got to meet and interact with him a bit, and he's glorious, referring to Gatwa. He'll be the first gay doctor, which is going to be super cool, a sexier doctor. The whole point of Doctor Who was not sex and sexuality. In fact, Doctor Who was supposed to be a being who was above all of that. The only time he ever engaged in that, and they stopped doing it afterward because, you know, it didn't make sense for him. It was kind of writing him into a corner. Was during the David Tennant era with his romance with Rose. And the Doctor refused to engage in a romantic relationship with her until, God, my nerd is showing, he was cloned as a human. The human version of him had a relationship with Rose, but the actual Doctor did not. Like, he did love Rose, and I'm sure that he had romantic feelings for her, but he just could not do it. And then after that, they kind of more or less dropped the entire thing. he did have a marriage to River Tam, another, or not River Tam, that's from Firefly. We'll just call her River. But even that was not like, it wasn't like super romancy. You know, any kind of romance that they engaged in happened off screen. And so it was kind of, you have to be very careful with Doctor Who. This being of infinite time and space who is very odd and awkward and weird and all that stuff. But one of the reasons they never truly focused on romance in Doctor Who was because, you know, you have all of this story to tell. You have infinite time and space in front of you, all these really interesting concepts that you could introduce. And sex and sexuality is not something that would play well off of a being like that. They had other characters around him engage in it to make the story more human, which is great. But Doctor Who has to elevate himself kind of sort of above that in a way. Even his relationship with River was like, it just seemed a little bit larger than you know, a married couple. You know, there was something about it. If you're reducing Doctor Who to being gay and having this sexy literally you're taking away what made Doctor Who famous. You know, and this is clearly political. This is a box checking move. This is all box checking. Literally, I don't know if y'all ever watched Community, that show that was on in the aughts at some point. It had Joel McHale in it and all that stuff. There was this one character who was obsessed with a knockoff of Doctor Who in that show called Inspector Spacetime. And one of the other characters pitched an American version of Inspector Spacetime, where instead of it being about time traveling and having fun and these adventures and all this stuff, they boiled him down to being, it was played by Luke Perry, this like sexy time traveler who has a sexy companion, and it's all about having sex and all that stuff because, you know, it's the American version. And it was so bad, you know, like the fans hated it, and one of the main characters who loves Inspector Spacetime like absolutely despised the guy who actually convinced them to make an American version of it. But I'm watching this, like I'm reading all of this, and I'm like, this is the American version of Inspector Spacetime. They're taking what made Doctor Who great and turning him into a person who is boiled down to his sex and sexuality. Now he's gay. I have no desire to watch it. I have no desire to watch that. Just like I didn't have any desire to watch the Jodie Whittaker Doctor, strictly because it was all going to be about feminism. Now it's going to be about sexuality. Why watch it? What am I going to get out of it? What am I going to get out of it? This is dumb. They are ruining franchises for the message, and this is what I'm talking about. The message. It's all about the message. Screw story. Screw character development. Screw these epic stories about space and time and all of this character who has this like storied history that you can pull from, and you could go anywhere and do anything. But we're gonna talk more about sex and sexuality. Brandon, you haven't even seen it yet, dude. I don't care. I know what they're gonna do with it. I saw what they did with Jodie Whittaker. I know what they're going to do with this. It's his tale as old as time now. All right? I know what the pattern is. They're going to boil Doctor Who down to being about being gay, or any message about being gay. They're going to fit him into those storylines. It is guaranteed there's going to be some sort of reference to, multiple references to people who just hate gay people and they're ignorant and bitter and blah, blah, blah. That's what they're going to do. It's what they did with Jodie Whittaker and feminism, man. Leftist messaging. I'm over it. Freaking over it. The focus wasn't really ever romance as much as it was little bits here and there. Dancing with Captain Jack, essentially marrying the Queen or something like that. But even like yeah, the look, Captain Jack, I get, after I complained about it, everyone pointed to Captain Jack. Well, he was gay. Yeah, but you know what? That was part of his character. That was his story. And by the way, when Captain Jack first appeared on the scene, Captain Jack was having sex with everything. He was not picky at all. He was just supposed to be like this, you know, free-loving kind of, you know, space-time travel guy. All right? That was his deal. But he was still human, by the way. Doctor Who, not that at all. Pretty sure a Time Lord can get laid anytime he wants to. Hey, yo! Doctor Who can go anywhere, anytime in the universe. But seems like to only hang out with modern day London. Ain't that weird? No, there was dude, Matt Smith's Doctor was by far my favorite Doctor. Well, that's cheaper than inventing new locations. So, yeah, true story. Kurt, the reboot from like 2005 is actually solid. I stopped watching the Capaldi. Same. After midway through the Capaldi year, I just kind of turned it off. I was like, I'm over it now. They couldn't make it any cheaper, so they might as well have just gone for broke. Red Dwarf was a shoestring budget, but still pulled it off. Red Dwarf was amazing. I need to watch that. The Message. Watch any of the new Star Trek. Better Things to Do. Hey, what's up, John? Welcome, buddy. He was boning anything that moved. Yeah, exactly. The fish stopped moving when Captain Jack stopped. I bet that Satan guy loves a hypersexualized, confusing, chaotic world. Maybe there's a connection? Ooh. I remember that episode. If it had a whole Captain Jack was... okay. Matt Smith wasn't, like, in my honest opinion, competed with David Tennant for Best Doctor. You ever watch Critical Drinker, Brennan? Pretty much religiously. Critical Drinker, man, there's something about him. He knows how to get a point across better than anyone when it comes to the wokeification of movies and television shows, when it comes to why a movie sucks so bad. Like, the Critical Drinker is top. One more thing. I want to talk about this because we're running out of time. Like I said, everything has to be gay. Everything has to be gay, except for this virus for some reason. Is this virus gay? It's pretty gay. The monkeypox virus is pretty gay. California State Senator Scott Wiener. What a name for this. What a name to be associated with this. Is promoting gay orgies during a monkeypox outbreak, but is encouraging people to stay safe. As such, he's promoting the San Francisco AIDS Foundation's guide to gay sex during a monkeypox outbreak with such advice as cover up your bumps. I'm just going to say this about this one in particular. First off, Wiener is a weirdo. He wants to mandate California schools do Drag Queen 101 for children's K through 12. He's that level of weird, and I'm pretty sure that if you were to search his computers, you might find some very interesting things that are very illegal. That said, why are they telling men to cover up their bumps, these gay men to cover up their bumps if they're going to go out? Because this whole entire thing that they're promoting right now, this douchey's guide to a door alley without fear of monkeypox. Door alley is a celebration of BDSM, primarily revolving around gay sex. It leads to a number of orgy parties. Just to throw that out there. My dog is very angry. They're not saying, hey, maybe don't go out there. Maybe refrain. They're still encouraging people go out and have sex. But they do all this stuff. For instance, make sure that you're having sex with a friend you trust. Obviously we're prophylactics. But if you do have bumps, cover them up. They were masking up children in school off of the chance that they would get coronavirus. Children who aren't that affected by the coronavirus. They were telling them to mask up in school, something that is insanely unhealthy for children to do. Right? They are wanting to re-lock down various places because of a coronavirus outbreak. You see where I'm going with this already? And yet, They're sitting here and telling these people, hey, having sex in orgies is great. Despite the fact that we're telling everybody that a monkeypox pandemic is pretty much here and we should be locking down and taking precautions because of it. Still, go out and have sex. Go out and do all that stuff. Interestingly, though, they are trying to make it seem, like I just said, they're trying to make it seem like this is a pandemic of an epic proportion for everyone. Here's the truth. According to a study in the New England Journal of Medicine, the monkeypox virus is indeed making its way across the nation, but 98% of those infected are either gay or bisexual men. 98%. This is from the Journal. We report 428 infections diagnosed between April 27th and June 24th, 2022 at 43 sites in 16 countries. Overall, 98% of the persons with infection were gay or bisexual men, 75% were white, and 41% had human immunodeficiency virus infection. The median age was 38 years. Transmission was suspected to have occurred through sexual activity in 95% of the persons with infection. Guys, this is not a pandemic that just can spread just by, walking through the wrong breath cloud. This isn't going to be prevented by staying in lockdown. This is just a virus that is being transmitted through bumping uglies in gay clubs. All right, that's pretty much what this is. This is a virus of the homosexual community. How come we can't say that? How come everything has to be gay with this virus? Seems a little strange. Wouldn't you say? Seems a little weird. How come they're not telling us that? How come this study right here is not being broadcast everywhere? Hey, this is not a pandemic that you have to worry about. This is not the same as the coronavirus pandemic. But if you were to turn on, the news right now, like CNN, MSNBC, I've seen the reports, you would listen to Joe Biden right now talk about how we have an epidemic of monkeypox. Why are they doing that when it is clearly a problem for the gay community, not anyone else? I'm not saying that you can't get it from, if you're straight, of course you can. But clearly, at 98%, this is a homosexual virus. That's just the way it is, man. Yet we can't talk about it. The media won't talk about it that way. It's apparently taboo to talk about the fact that it's primarily affecting the homosexual gay community. Why do this? And moreover, why make it taboo to mention that this is primarily a disease of the gay community? The only good reason I can think of is that they're looking to scare people back into thinking that increased government oversight over everything is necessary, just like in the days of the pandemic. But even that is scraping the bottom of the barrel. It wouldn't be long before word that it's more or less a venereal disease. It's not a venereal disease. I was being a little loose with my wording there. I shouldn't have been. My apologies. Of the gay community is spread, and the people who suggested lockdowns look like abject fools. I know Democrats are desperate for something to bring people back into a pandemic mentality, but this is just sad. No, you don't have to worry about monkeypox unless you plan to have sexual relations with strangers in the gay community. Any and all panic about monkeypox should be shrugged off and maybe even laughed at. They are trying to make it seem like you're in danger if you leave your home. This is desperation on part of the Democrats. 100% desperation. They want to bring you back into that pandemic mentality. They want you scared. They want you fearful. Because if you're fearful, then you might actually rely on them for protection. Because that's what they do. They make you afraid of something, and then they promise you protection. They promise you that they can fix the problem. That's what they have been doing for forever. That's like one of the biggest parts of the Democrat Party agenda. Their strategy to win elections. They make you afraid of something, and then you vote for them because they promise protection from that thing. They're trying to make you think that monkeypox right now is some horrible disease, some virus that is going to come and get you. It's not. It's not. Red just sent me this in my DMs. We were talking about the Critical Drinker.
What's up, Internet? It's the Critical Drinker here. I'm just getting ready to fly home to Scotland, but no trip to America would be complete without a little bit of this.
I love it when Europeans come over here and play with guns. It's like their mind is blown.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
Go away now. I love that. I love it when Europeans come over to America and experience like holding and using guns for the first time. It's one of my absolute favorites. I responded with this. What's up, Becca? Cover up your booty bumps, y'all. Don't let know you're going to. Spread the butt pox. Maybe I like that. The butt pox. If a zombie bites you, go out in public and make sure you cover the bite. But a state of emergency for San Francisco does make sense. I mean, you're not wrong, especially because that whole entire door alley thing is taking place in San Francisco. Wondering why young children are getting the pox? Ugh. Gay community adjacent children too, yeah. That's a scary thought. Given children touch all the surfaces, man. They touch all the surfaces. They're definitely at a risk of getting monkeypox, but I mean, like, they'd have to touch a surface that a gay man's open sores touched first for them to get it. We should talk about it. It's not been a disease that's targeted gays in the past. Monkeypox is not new. It's been around a long time. Why the change now? Again, I think a lot of it's just the... I think a lot of it boils down to they are trying to find a way to make you afraid. They're trying to make you think another pandemic. People have that. They still have the memory of the pandemic fresh in their minds, and they're trying to reactivate that fear. Because that pandemic really, really helped them out. In the last election, it helped them out when it came to controlling the people. They had unbridled power like they'd never experienced before. So of course they want it back. And they're going to use monkeypox as a way to scare people into doing it. The issue is that monkeypox is primarily being spread through, I mean, it's 98%. 98% gay community. Gay or bisexual. The numbers are what they are, man. You know? Well, they have the gay community scared for sure. We'll see how scared. How the children are getting it. Knowing it's mostly from brings up some uncomfortable implications. Absolutely it does. Wifey warned me about rolling around naked with monkeys. Yeah, I stopped doing that years ago. I love the critical... Dude, who doesn't love the Critical Drinker? Feel good video of the day. Amen. Thought that's who I heard. We're all Critical Drinker fans. Everyone tag him in this tweet next time. Next time the tweet goes out that we're live, tag him. If we can get the Critical Drinker in here, oh my god. Hands will transmit the pox if they are infected, so just touching someone else could be bad. I think, from what I understand, if you have monkeypox on your hands and the sores are there and you touch somebody, yes, it can spread that way. But if you don't have a sore and you touch somebody, I don't think that the transmission, at least it has a very, very, very reduced chance of occurring. So if you see someone with the booty bumps, chances are the butt pox. One reason for children would be that they aren't vaccinated for smallpox. It's why you are not hearing about people from my generation getting it. We're all mostly immune. That's interesting. In case people don't know, Critical Drinker mostly does movie and TV show reviews. Oh, I think people know. I think everyone in here is a huge fan. I'm waiting for them to mandate to do mRNA monkeypox, totally ignoring the fact that people have had smallpox vax. Oh, that would... You know what? Ah, man. Now that I think about it, I kind of wonder if they will do something like that. But I don't know. The last one didn't go over so hot. We'll see. We'll see, because that was a Mandating the vax was probably one of the worst political moves Joe Biden ever made. I mean, the amount of people that like reacted negatively to it was pretty mind-blowing. Maybe one of these days we'll get a RSL guest starring drinker. Dude, I would 100%. Are you kidding me? I would just love to sit down and talk with him for like 30 minutes. A pox on your house and sphincter. Waiting for the locust swarms. Dude, there are days when I'm just like, where's that comet we were all promised? Where is it? I don't know. I think things are turning around. I mean, again, I honestly do believe that you have, and I think we're being proved right now with the cancellation of Batgirl, and you have all these shows that are being canceled from wokeness. I think that society is starting to turn around. I think much of the population has been there for some time where it is against woke culture and pushing back against the punishments that they're trying to force upon us. But I think that it's taking a minute for corporations to catch up. Because corporations are slow-moving beasts, and for the longest time, they were convinced that the only way to get people to buy their products was if they got involved in a cause of some kind, or they exhibited woke tendencies, because they thought that that's the world that they lived in. They were convinced by the people who got out of college and proselytized to them about the goodness of wokeness and the punishments that come with not going along with it. You had a lot of CEOs, you had a lot of managers, executives bow down to it because they did not want to be the next person who was canceled. They didn't want to be the next person to lose their job and their legacy and all that stuff. And it was happening all over the place. Now you have these corporations that found out that you can't be canceled unless you choose to be canceled. And they're pushing back. I see Netflix doing it. I see the CEO of Paramount doing it, which is great. I'm seeing Warner Discovery do it. To a degree. I think canceling a $90 million movie is a big sign. I really do. And I think that you're going to see Doctor Who crash and burn like it has already. I mean, a lot of its audience has already departed since it got woke, but now it's going to get even woker. No one's going to watch it. Society is turned away. And I think it's only a matter of time before many corporations follow suit. And maybe that's just my unrelenting optimism. But I'm reading the signs, man. I'm reading the signs. I'm seeing them. And it does not look good for the left. I mean, even the upcoming election is almost a guaranteed loss for Democrats all over the place. People are sick of it, man. People are sick and tired of the woke culture. They're tired of the social justice. They're tired of the societal dictatorship. They're over it. They want their escapism back. They don't want to be preached to when they're trying to watch a Batman movie or read a comic book or watch a show or play a video game. They're over it. And God bless them for speaking out. God bless you for speaking out. God bless you for going to social media, Twitter, not buying, this woke nonsense, not buying into it, not buying it, period. That's how we win this war. We still live in a society where money talks. And it talks much louder over time, especially, than many of these ideologies do. People want to grow. They want to feed their kids. They want to make money. They want to get rich. And I don't blame them. I want to get rich. Are you kidding me? And in order to do that, they have to have a product worth buying. And right now, corporations do not have products worth buying. They're starting to roll them out slowly but surely. But again, these are lessons that they have to learn. This is why I encourage people, go and see those movies that are worth seeing. All right, if a Spider-Man No Way Home is released and it's that good, go see it. If a Top Gun is released, go see it. If they come out with a Terminalist, go see it. Right now, again, The Chosen is free on Amazon Prime right now, the first season. If you have Amazon Prime, go watch it. Go watch it. Give it numbers. Give what deserves to have numbers the numbers. That's how you teach these corporations. You buy the products that deserve to be bought. You ignore the products that they put out that spit in your face or carry some sort of message. teach them because they need to learn that lesson. Yep, that'll do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again. Again, go to redstate.com. A lot of what I'm talking about right now is on redstate.com. Join up for the VIP program. Use promo code Morse, MRSE on sign up. It really helps us out. Follow me at @TheBrandonMorse on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at @TheBrandonMorse Live. Smile, you're winning. You're winning. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't listen to what the media tells you. You're doing great. Keep it up. Old saying, I am the government and I am here to help. A lot of people not buying that. Exactly. Like the video on this channel. Yes, please give this video a like. I forgot to say that. Please give this video a like. It really helps us out. Good show. Thank you. Thank you, Cleo. My Twitter account being banned in the last Great Purge was one of the best things that ever happened to me. No BS. It's poison. I am slowly making my way off of Twitter. I am just shadow banned to hell and back there. And it's bad. It's real bad. Thanks, noob. Thank you, Amtrue. Appreciate it. See you later. Thanks for the entertaining break. You are welcome, Sean. Thanks for stopping by, man. Godspeed, good souls. Thank you all for sharing. I hope you and yours have a great week. You too, soul. Great show, Brandon. Thank you, Raptor. We are winning slowly, but hey, slowly is better than not at all. I'll see you guys on Friday. End of the week. Send me something. Send me something you want me to talk about. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. All right, boys and ladies.